Good day, ma'am. By the way, I'm Ruel Estoso Jr. with my partner,
I'm Charlene Casey Saporin.
PS Cream 1 Delta.
Today, we are going to tackle all about communication art and their 8 elements. What is communication?
Communication Art is the largest international trade journal of visual communication. Founded in 1959 by Richard Coyne and Robert Blanchard. The magazine coverage include graphic designs, advertising, photography, illustration, and interactive media. Charlene Joy, what is a communication art courses?
Communication art courses cover all facets of effective communication by writing, reading, speaking, listening, researching, illustrating, and more recognizing connection to what we hear and what we read. It also allows us to learn, grow, and progress.
These are 8 essential communication processes involve understanding, sharing, and meaning.
The first is the source. Source is imagines, create, and sends the message. In a public situation, the source is the person giving the speech. Ruel, what are your understanding and give me an example of source?
There are 2 types of sources, the primary sources and secondary sources. The primary consists of interviews, new footage, datasets, original research, speeches, diaries, and letters, while the secondary sources consist of research studies, literacy, criticism, book reviews, and biographies.
Number 2 is the message. Message is the stimulus or meaning produced by the source for the receiver or audience. Ruel, give me an example of a message.
Messages may include verbal content such as written or spoken words, sign language, email text messages, phone calls, snail mail, and even sky writing. Number 3. Channel. It is the way in which a message or messages travel between source and receiver. Each channel takes us some space even in the digital world. In the cable or in the signal that brings the message of each channel to your. Give me an example of channel.
The example of a channel is the television combines an audio signal you hear with a visual signal you see. Together, they convey the message to the viewer or audience. Number 4 is the receiver. The receiver receives the message from the source, analyzing and interpreting the message in ways both intended and unintended by the source. Ruel, give me an example of a receiver.
For example, phone calls, text messages, emails, video, radio, and social media are all types of communication channels. Environment. The environment is the atmosphere, physical and psychological, where you send or receive messages. Example, it is the place you and your friend are visiting in. 7. Context. The context of the communication interaction involves the setting, scene, and expectation of the individuals involved. Context is all about what people expect from each other, and we often create those expectations out of environmental cause. Interference. It also called noise can come from source. Interference is anything that blocks or changes the source's intended meaning of the messages. Charlene Joy, give me an example interference.
Example of an interference is a noise interferes with normal encoding and decoding of the message carried by the channel between source and receiver.
Before I end this presentation, I'd like to inform you all that communication is very important to us, especially when we interact with others, so that we can control our emotions when we communicate by other, and also to prevent misunderstanding, and it helps us to be a good communicator as well.